Klaus Barbie, infamously known as the Butcher of Lyon, was one of the most ruthless Nazi war criminals of World War II. As the head of the Gestapo in Lyon, France, he was responsible for the torture, deportation, and execution of thousands of resistance fighters, Jews, and civilians. After the war, Barbie evaded capture for decades, living a new life under a false identity in South America. His eventual capture and trial in the 1980s became a symbol of the relentless pursuit of justice for Holocaust survivors and victims of Nazi atrocities. This narrative explores Barbie's crimes, his escape and years in hiding, and the determined efforts to bring him to justice.
Klaus Barbie was born on October 25, 1913 in Bad Godesberg, Germany. He joined the Nazi Party and the SS in the early 1930s, quickly rising through the ranks of the Gestapo. During the German occupation of France, Barbie was stationed in Lyon from 1942 to 1944, where he earned his notorious nickname. He was directly responsible for the arrest and brutal torture of members of the French resistance, including the capture and deportation of Jean Moulin, one of the highest-ranking members of the resistance. Barbie's cruelty extended to Lyon's Jewish community. In April 1944, he orchestrated the raid on the Jewish children's home in Izio, resulting in the deportation and murder of 44 children and their 7 adult caretakers at Auschwitz. His sadistic methods of torture and interrogation left a lasting scar on the city of Lyon and made him one of the most feared and hated figures of the Nazi occupation.
After the liberation of France in 1944, Barbie fled to Germany, where he was captured by American forces. Despite his war crimes, he was recruited by U.S. intelligence services, which valued his knowledge of communist networks and used him as an informant during the early years of the Cold War. In 1951, as demands for war crimes trials grew, the Americans helped Barbie escape to South America, where he settled in Bolivia under the alias Klaus Altman. In Bolivia, Barbie lived comfortably for decades, working as an advisor to the Bolivian military and even participating in violent government crackdowns on leftist groups. His involvement in arms smuggling and intelligence operations allowed him to maintain a network of protection. While Holocaust survivors and Nazi hunters continued to seek justice, Barbie remained elusive, benefiting from political turmoil and the complicity of those who shielded him.
The pursuit of Klaus Barbie was marked by the tireless efforts of individuals and organizations committed to holding him accountable for his crimes. One of the most prominent figures in this pursuit was Serge Klarsfeld, a French lawyer and Holocaust survivor, who, along with his wife, dedicated his life to tracking down Nazi war criminals. In the 1970s, the Klarsfelds, armed with new information and a relentless determination, intensified their efforts to locate Barbie. They conducted thorough research, uncovered Barbie's alias, and exposed his whereabouts to the public. Their revelations sparked international outrage and renewed calls for Barbie's extradition to France. The turning point came in the early 1980s, when Bolivia's political climate shifted, and pressure from the international community made it increasingly difficult for the Bolivian government to continue protecting Barbie. In 1983, after years of legal and diplomatic efforts, Barbie was finally arrested and extradited to France to stand trial for crimes against humanity.
Klaus Barbie's trial, which began in May 1987 in Lyon, was one of the most significant war crimes trials since the Nuremberg trials. It was the first time that France prosecuted a Nazi official for crimes committed on its soil, and the proceedings were closely followed around the world. The trial served not only as a legal reckoning for Barbie, but also as a public confrontation with the horrors of the Holocaust and the painful legacy of the Nazi occupation of France. During the trial, survivors of Barbie's atrocities testified, recounting the torture, deportations, and murders he orchestrated. The testimony of those who had suffered at Barbie's hands brought the atrocities to life, moving the court and the audience to tears. Barbie, however, remained unrepentant, denying his role in the crimes and refusing to acknowledge the suffering he had caused. On July 4, 1987, Klaus Barbie was found guilty of crimes against humanity, including the torture and deportation of Jews and members of the French resistance. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. The verdict was a powerful affirmation of justice, albeit delayed, for the victims and their families. Barbie died in prison in 1991, having never shown remorse for his actions.
The capture and trial of Klaus Barbie had a profound impact on the global pursuit of justice for Holocaust survivors and victims of war crimes. His case highlighted the complicity and moral failings of those who had protected him, including U.S. intelligence agencies that had initially shielded him from prosecution. The trial also underscored the importance of holding war criminals accountable, regardless of the passage of time. In France, the trial of Barbie was a moment of national reckoning. It forced the country to confront painful aspects of its own history, including the collaboration of some French citizens and officials with the Nazi regime. The trial also served as a catalyst for further investigations into other war criminals and collaborators who had evaded justice. The case of Klaus Barbie remains a symbol of the relentless pursuit of justice. It demonstrated that even decades after the atrocities were committed, there could still be accountability. The trial provided a measure of closure for survivors and reaffirmed the principle that crimes against humanity must never go unpunished.
The hunt for Klaus Barbie and his eventual trial and conviction serve as a powerful reminder of the enduring importance of justice and memory. The efforts to bring Barbie to justice were driven not by revenge, but by the need to confront and acknowledge the past, to honor the victims, and to ensure that such atrocities are never forgotten or repeated. Barbie's story is a testament to the resilience and courage of those who fought to bring him to justice. It is also a stark warning about the dangers of impunity and the moral consequences of turning a blind eye to evil. His trial was a victory for humanity, reminding us that the pursuit of justice, no matter how long it takes, is a necessary endeavor in the face of history's darkest chapters.
The arrest and trial of Klaus Barbie, the Butcher of Lyon, stand as a powerful symbol of justice pursued and achieved against overwhelming odds. His crimes, his evasion of capture, and his eventual reckoning underscore the enduring impact of the Holocaust and the necessity of confronting its legacy. As we reflect on the pursuit of Barbie, we are reminded of the importance of vigilance, perseverance, and the unyielding commitment to holding perpetrators of atrocities accountable for their actions.